Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful city of Chandigarh is in the eve of a storm over the election of its mayor. Now, the election of a mayor is hardly national news, but the brazenness with which it was rigged on camera was both stunning and scary. The Supreme Court had called it murder of democracy. Now, the story for so far, the BJP had 14 councillors as opposed to 20 of the AAP and the Congress combined, and yet it was the BJP that won. Why? Because 8 votes of the Aam Aadmi Party Congress alliance were declared invalid by the returning officer, who just, by the way, is a BJP man. The Supreme Court was livid. Today, the Apex Court grilled the presiding officer in question. His name is Anil Masih. He's the one who's accused of making marks on votes before declaring them invalid. It was all caught on CCTV. Replying to the questions of the Chief Justice of India, Mr. Masih said that he did put an X mark on 8 ballots that were already defaced. So he's essentially saying they were already defaced, they were already invalid, and therefore I put the X mark on them. Essentially and basically, he ended up accepting his mistake in the top court. Mr. Masih also had something to say about the visuals that we will see on our screens. Those are the visuals. Mr. Masih has accused AAP councillors of creating a ruckus, trying to snatch away ballot papers and attacking him. He says it was due to this very reason that he was looking at the camera at the counting centre. Now, the Supreme Court threatened the officer with prosecution if he lied to them. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court of India will examine the ballot papers that were used in the January 30th elections and also view the footage available. The Supreme Court has also asked the High Court to appoint a fresh returning officer who's not associated with any political party, so that he may be asked to count the votes afresh if need be. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you already know this, but this is the first time in the history of independent India that a returning officer has been cross-examined by the country's Chief Justice. Meanwhile, irrespective of the Supreme Court's censure, the game is still on in Chandigarh. Last night, on the eve of the Supreme Court hearing, the BJP mayor, Manoj Sonkar, quit the post. Yeah, that's him. Then, shortly after that, 3 Aam Aadmi Party councillors switched sides and joined the BJP. So the BJP mayor quits on the eve of the Supreme Court hearing, and 3 AAP councillors, I beg your pardon, simply hop over to the BJP side. The top court today called this horse trading a very serious issue. Those who switched sides simply said they are now in love with the BJP. Listen in.
मैंने भाजपा ज्वाइन की है क्योंकि मुझे एक वादा किया गया था आम आदमी पार्टी की तरफ से। सबसे ज़्यादा मैं उनमें एजुकेटेड कैंडिडेट मानी गई थी मेयर इलेक्शन के लिए, लेकिन एक झूठा वादा किया गया कि आपको मेयर कैंडिडेट बनाया जाएगा, लेकिन एट द एंड उन्होंने किसी और को मेयर कैंडिडेट बना दिया। तो ये झूठा वादा उन्होंने मेरे साथ किया। आज मैं प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की जो गरीब कल्याण के लिए उन्होंने कार्य किए हैं, दलितों के लिए कार्य किए हैं, उससे प्रभावित होकर भाजपा ज्वाइन कर रही हूँ।
भाजपा ज्वाइन करने की वजह ये रही है कि जो हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी हैं, इनकी जो नीति है गरीबों और दलितों के लिए जो मसीहा बनते हैं, इनके ही द्वारा मैं जो इनसे प्रभावित हुई हूँ, इसलिए मैंने ज्वाइन की है बीजेपी। आम आदमी पार्टी छोड़ने की वजह ये रही है कि इन्होंने मुझे वादा किया था कि मैं मेयर कैंडिडेट बनूंगी, क्योंकि मेरा जो हस्बैंड है वो मतलब गरीबों मतलब जैसे वो समाज सेवक थे जैसे, तो वो काफ़ी लोगों के साथ मतलब बहुत अच्छे से मतलब व्यवहार था उनका, लेकिन उन्होंने ना जो हमारी आम आदमी पार्टी है, इन्होंने गलत उनको उसमें फंसाया गया। मेरे जो पति अब जेल में हैं, तो मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि वो एक झूठी पार्टी है, इसलिए मैं उस पार्टी को छोड़ना चाहती थी।
मैं तो 1.5 साल पहले बीजेपी में आ गया था और हूँ भी बीजेपी में रहूँगा और हैं भी बीजेपी में। कुछ कारणा करके मैं गुमराह हो गया था, ਮੈਨੂੰ पार्टी ने गुमराह कर दिया था, फिर उत्थे जाके साढ़े फोन बंद करा दे, इस करके थोड़ा जाके लेट हो गया, दोबारा मैनू आना पै रहा। बीजेपी का है और बीजेपी का ही रहूँ। खास वजह तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी की नीतियाँ तो बहुत प्रभावित हैं, बहुत अच्छे काम कर रहे गरीबों वास्ते, दलितों वास्ते, सारे इस करके बीजेपी के विच है।
Now, question is, what will the Supreme Court do next? A recounting or a repoll? Now, if the Supreme Court does order a repoll, then the BJP is poised to win. With these three crossovers you just heard from, the BJP now has a majority in the 35-member municipality. Look at the numbers. Initially, the BJP had 14 councillors in the 35-member Chandigarh Municipal Corporation. After the AAP additions, their tally is now at 17. Let's put up that graphic for our viewers so they better understand the numbers we are talking about. There it is. They also have the support of one Shiromani Akali Dal councillor. Now, BJP's Chandigarh MP Kiran Kher also has voting rights as an ex-officio member, which brings the BJP to the magic number of 19. Which means if there is an election, a re-election that the Supreme Court orders, the BJP will end up winning it because they now have the magic figure of 19 with 3 councillors of the Aam Aadmi Party switching over to their side. The Aam Aadmi Party is calling this a murder of democracy. Listen in.
उनके मेयर ने कल इस्तीफा दे दिया। ये जाहिर है कि उन्होंने गलत काम किया था, गलत तरीके से उनका मेयर बना था। उन्होंने चुनाव में धांधली की थी। ऐसे ही चुनाव में धांधली करके जीतते हैं और फिर अगर जीत ना पाएं तो लोगों को खरीद लेते हैं। ऐसे जनतंत्र कैसे चलेगा? अगर हार गए तो यार दूसरों को भी सरकार चलाने दो।
एक इतना छोटा सा शहर और उसके एक मेयर का चुनाव जो सिर्फ 1 साल के लिए बन रहा है, ऐसे चुनाव के अंदर देश की सबसे छोटी पार्टी आम आदमी पार्टी का कैंडिडेट है और एक दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी कहलाने वाली भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कैंडिडेट है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक इस छोटे से शहर के मेयर के चुनाव में क्या क्या नहीं कर रही, ये पूरा देश देख रहा है। इनका प्रजातंत्र में क्या विश्वास है, इनके अंदर सत्ता की कितनी प्यास है, ये सबको पता चल रहा है।
My guest this evening for a very quick chat. We won't stretch it for too long. Amit Tiwari, spokesperson of the BJP. Ashwini Kumar Dubey, advocate of the Supreme Court. Parvinder Sethi, political analyst, who will speak on behalf of the Aam Aadmi Party. And advocate Kapil Maidan, who is a political analyst, all joining us on the show. Thank you very much. Amit Tiwari ji, I'm going to start with you. Bhai, आपके mayor ने क्यों कुर्सी छोड़ दी on the eve of the Supreme Court's hearing? Was it because he feels he was guilty and the Supreme Court will see through what has been done?
No. First of all, let me tell you one thing very clearly. That let's not predict anything. You will recall, Shreya, that when the bail application of Manish Sisodia was being heard, for certain questions were posed, everybody tried to create a narrative that yes, now the bail is to be granted, and finally when the judgment came, the bail was dismissed. Supreme Court definitely today has made certain very serious remarks, but that is for the returning officer to explain. I am nobody to represent him. Now, obviously, when Supreme Court will tomorrow
Mr. Tiwari, that's not the question I've asked you.
Yes.
That's not the question I've asked you. I have asked you why did your mayor resign?
No, ma'am, that's a democratic process. Somebody wants to resign, somebody wants to join. That is a democratic process. What is the difficulty in this? Mayor resignation does not mean that we are admitting that we were at fault. That is for the returning officer to explain, and tomorrow things will be clear. When all the ballot papers will be perused by the Honorable Supreme Court, they will find out, they will come out with their observations. So merely by resignation, one should not consider it that we have admitted that we were at fault. Their prayer is for a fresh election, re-election. Let re-election be done. Nobody has any objection to it. So therefore, today you can't say that somebody.
Mr. Tiwari, up to it's very convenient. If the election is done, you'll win. Mr. Tiwari, now this is a very convenient argument. If the election happens today, you'll win. Because last night itself, 3 Aam Aadmi Party councillors have switched sides. Suddenly, all of a sudden, they have great love for the BJP.
Is it happening for the first time in this country that the people are switching sides? Arvind Kejriwal fought against Congress and now he's in his Congress side only. So you have seen these 3 municipal councillors. They have pointed out what are the reasons they were influenced by the policies of the central government, as well as they were cheated. This is what you have shown. So if somebody wants to join BJP, does it mean that every time there is some hanky-panky? No, that's not. They wanted to join, they joined. It is for Aam Aadmi Party to explain as to why they couldn't.
No, but the Supreme... ठीक है, but the Supreme Court is calling it house trading. I'm not calling it house trading. The Supreme Court has called it house trading.
Ma'am,
Is it
see,
not
I will
house
not.
trading?
No. I will not comment anything which is pending sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will take up its call. You call me tomorrow again, I will explain it to you. Let Supreme Court decide first. It is not appropriate to comment when the matter is pending before the court. It is completely inappropriate and we never do it.
Okay, you know what?
Let the Honorable Supreme Court, which is a constitutional authority, the
Okay,
highest...
you know what?
Yes.
I'm fairly certain we are going to be debating this tomorrow as well, because the Supreme Court has now called for the ballot papers because it wants to see the ballot papers for itself.
Yes.
And it has called for the CCTV footage, the entire CCTV footage at 2 o'clock, and they want to see that entire CCTV footage again. They have already called this the murder of democracy. So we'll see what happens. But as far as my invitation to you for tomorrow's show is concerned, वो मैं आज ही आपको दे रही हूँ कि आप पक्का कल आ जाइएगा. परविंदर सिंह सेठी, you have the BJP spokesperson of the show saying, हम क्या करें? If 3 councillors have fallen in love with Prime Minister Modi's policies at the centre and they want to join, how can you call this horse trading? And please don't think it is an admission of guilt if our mayor resigned last night. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, democracy है, उसका मन किया resign करने का, उसने कर दिया.
नहीं, देखो, राजनीति के अंदर कई लोग पार्टियां बदलते हैं, आते हैं, जाते हैं, लेकिन जो इस तरह से इन्होंने लोकतंत्र का अपमान करा है, देश को, देश की राजनीति को शर्मिंदा करने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने करा है. का ये लोगों को खरीदते हैं, लोगों को डराते हैं, ईडी से, सीबीआई से लालच देते हैं, पोजीशन का लालच देते हैं, पैसे का लालच देते हैं, और ये बाय हुक और क्रुक ये चाहते हैं कि चाहे छोटे से छोटा चुनाव हो. हम अगर देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जो चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया है, उन्होंने कहा जो रिटर्निंग अफसर ने करा है वो लोकतंत्र की हत्या है और इसके ऊपर कानूनी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए. ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट से भी ऊपर है. ये देश की जनता, पूरा देश नहीं, पूरा संसार देख रहा है जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने राजनीति के अंदर जो करैक्टर की, जो किरदार की गिरावट करी है, इसके लिए पूरा देश इनको देख रहा है. हो सकता है कि टेम्परेरी इनको सत्ता मिल जाए, टेम्परेरी इनका मेयर बन जाए, लेकिन आने वाले समय में जो देश की जनता है वो इनको जवाब देगी. और इस तरह की बेईमानी, इस तरह जो किरदार गिराकर बाय हुक और क्रुक
अभी they have not declared the presiding officer. एक मिनट परविंदर जी, एक मिनट रुकिए. Right now I just need to clarify this for the viewers as well. परविंदर जी, एक बात सुन लीजिए कि आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर को गिल्टी नहीं बताया. उन्होंने बोला हमसे झूठ बोलोगे तो सीधा जेल में जाओगे, ये बोला है. लेकिन दे हैव नॉट right now declared him guilty. That will happen tomorrow once they see the ballot papers. लेकिन परविंदर जी, जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर था, हाँ वो बीजेपी के आदमी है, वो हम सब मानते हैं, वो सबको पता है उनकी पॉलिटिकल हिस्ट्री. एक मिनट सुन लीजिए. लेकिन उनका एक एक्सप्लेनेशन है जो कोर्ट में दिया गया है. ये जो आप तस्वीरें देख रहे हैं, सब पूछ रहे हैं, आम आदमी पार्टी पूछ रही है, कोर्ट भी पूछ रहा है कि तुम ये पेन से क्या कर रहे थे, क्रॉस मार्क कहां पे लगा रहे थे, एक्स मार्क कहां पे लगा रहे थे और क्यों लगा रहे थे. तो जो जवाब आया है अनिल मैसी का, आई थिंक सबको सुनना चाहिए. अनिल मैसी कह रहे हैं कि मैंने वो एक्स मार्क लगाया, वो उसने उतना एडमिशन किया है, लेकिन वो कह रहे हैं कि मैंने एक्स मार्क सिर्फ उन बैलेट पेपर्स पे लगाया, उन 8 बैलेट पेपर्स पे लगाया जो ऑलरेडी मुझे इनवैलिड दिखे, टू सेपरेट देम फ्रॉम द रेस्ट ऑफ द बैलेट्स. इस आर्गुमेंट को आप मानते हैं?
नहीं, देखिए, ये तो इस बात का सारी दुनिया को पता है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट को भी पता है, कल इसका फैसला भी आ जाएगा क्या हुआ है. लेकिन अगर आप वीडियो को ध्यान से देखें, जो प्रिजाइडिंग अफसर है वो एक तरफ बैलेट पेपर पे काम कर रहे हैं, दूसरी तरफ कैमरे में देख रहे हैं, चोरों की तरह इधर उधर ऊपर नीचे देख रहे हैं कि इसका मतलब उनके मन के अंदर कोई चोर है. और वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हाई कमांड का कहने के ऊपर उन्होंने 8 जो काउंसलर थे उनके बैलेट पेपर को इनवैलिड कर दिया, जो इतिहास में कभी नहीं हुआ. अगर किसी को जनता ने मैंडेट दिया है, आप उस मैंडेट का अपमान करेंगे. आप सत्ता पाने के लिए, छोटे से मेयर के चुनाव जीतने के लिए आप किसी भी हद तक गिर जाएंगे. इस बात का मैसेज पूरे देश में जाता है कि जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी छोटे से मेयर के चुनाव के लिए इतना गिर सकती है.
ठीक है परविंदर, हाँ ठीक है परविंदर जी, वो मैंने आपकी बात सुनी. अमित तिवारी, हाउ डू यू इवन एक्सप्लेन दिस वीडियो? मतलब वैसे तो बीजेपी स्पोक्सपर्सन्स आए हैं इस शो पे और दे हैव ट्राइड टू एक्सप्लेन दिस वीडियो, बट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट वाज आल्सो स्टन्ड टू सी दिस वीडियो. लेट्स पुट दैट वीडियो बैक ऑन आवर स्क्रीन्स वंस अगेन. where the presiding officer is putting something down on the ballot papers with his pen and then constantly looking up at the camera. These are actions of someone who knows that what he is doing is wrong. मतलब साफ दिख रहा है ना?
Can't there be an adverse inference that he is conscious of the fact, and if he is conscious of the fact that yes, there is a camera, why would he do it? I am not representing any presiding officer or Mr. Masih, but he will explain he will tender his explanation, and tomorrow therefore I said let's wait. Tomorrow the Honorable Supreme Court will have to peruse everything. They are independent, they will decide.
Tiwari, you are the spokesperson of the BJP. And Anil Masih is a man of the BJP. So how are you saying you will not defend your own man?
No, I'm sorry. When somebody sits as a returning officer under the statute or under the law, he is an independent body. Till that time, he is sitting as a municipal. If he is a nominated councillor, obviously he is a BJP man. But when he is made a returning officer, he has a job to perform, a legal job to discharge. Now, Mr. Sethi was saying that this has happened for the first time in the history of the democracy, that democracy has been killed like this. Why doesn't he speak on the issue when the standing committee election of Delhi municipal corporations were held? The mayor of Aam Aadmi Party was the presiding officer. She invalidated one vote intentionally, despite the fact that the votes were valid, and thereafter only to defeat BJP she did that. We challenged that before the Honorable High Court, and let me complete this, ma'am. The High Court ruled that the conduct of the returning officer mayor was bad, and then the vote which she declared invalid was declared valid, and thereafter the standing committee the elections were declared by the Honorable High Court. They have challenged it before the Supreme Court. That's pending. I will not comment on any pending issue. But so far as the murder of democracy, every hue and cry is being made, but no comment is being made when the mayor of Aam Aadmi Party does it. Mayor, which is a head of the municipal corporation, then they don't find any fault. Then the murder of democracy does not take place.
No, listen. Sir, we all know that it was these 8 invalid votes that made the difference between defeat and victory, right? Now we'll have to see what happens tomorrow, what the Supreme Court says, whether there is a repolling, whether there is a re-election. Now, Ashwini Kumar Dubey,
I was only giving an example where the court has already found that the entire process was intentionally done by the mayor. Here, in this case, the court is yet to arrive at a conclusion.
So
therefore, I said that the allegation that Mr. Sethi is leveling that the democracy has been killed is not correct. Please go back and see what is your conduct. So we don't need
so you are saying people like the Aam Aadmi Party is also killing democracy and the BJP is also killing democracy. God save us all. Kapil Madan, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, so I was listening to the BJP spokesperson very, very patiently, and what he was saying does not even deserve an ounce of a credence, because he's making silly point, and his silliness is strikingly apparent. I will make 2 quick points here. When the Honorable Chief Justice asked very, very specifically under what provision of law you were putting marks on it, he could not explain. In fact, the Honorable Chief Justice also quoted one rule and said that all you could have done was you could have just made your signatures, and the fact that you were conscious or you were made conscious that there is a camera there, your expression revealed everything. And what was the conclusion of the Honorable Chief Justice? He mentioned at the end that this man should be prosecuted for an offense. Now, having said that, now let me quote, what is the issue of democracy. You may remember when MVA government was fallen, the Supreme Court, in fact, in that case also observed the act of the governor asking the chief minister to prove a majority was illegal. So in that situation, to say, when Mr. Tiwari say that, he may be, the returning officer may be a BJP functionary, but when he was acting as a returning officer, he was, acting as an independent body. So that's the state of an independent body. That's what independent bodies you've reduced to.
Kapil, the point is, we can keep criticizing the BJP and Anil Masih for what has happened. But please let us remember there is a problem with the Aam Aadmi Party itself and its councillors. If 3 of them are so willing to walk over to the BJP's side for whatever reasons on the eve of the Supreme Court hearing, there is a problem with the Aam Aadmi Party and its own cadre. Ashwini Kumar Dubey, but what do you think the Supreme Court will do? You're an advocate of the Supreme Court. Do you think the Supreme Court should order a repoll or a recounting? Because a recounting in this case will be much more fairer than a repoll. Repoll करेंगे तो बीजेपी तो जीत ही जाएगी.
3 points. One, the free, fair, impartial, transparent election is the fulcrum of the democracy. Number two, election commission is an independent body. So officers, till the time the model code of conduct for any election is implemented, they work under the guidance and supervision of the election commission under the Representation of People Act. Three, the Supreme Court, I'm coming to your question, Supreme Court proposed that the results of the controversial mayor election will be declared on the basis of present ballot papers instead of ordering a fresh election. That is why Honorable Supreme Court has also appointed a judicial officer. The question here is, has he done it on the basis of, is there any proximate link first on the conduct of that election returning officer that he has done at the behest of any political party? That Honorable Supreme Court has not said anything. Honorable Supreme Court has recorded the statement of the presiding officer in which he has admitted that he has defaced 8 ballot papers. Then the court said that the entire record be produced in safe custody before Supreme Court at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Because the Supreme Court, yes, indeed the Supreme Court is the custodian of the Constitution. Whenever the action on the part of the officer of the state, which is contrary to the law, contrary to the settled law, is there that the courts always come and rescue, keep the constitutional mandate paramount. Here, the Honorable Supreme Court has already restored the majesty of the law. But now, tomorrow, or if supposingly it comes to the conclusion that on the basis of the ballot papers, instead of ordering a fresh election, that against the allegations, against the political party, the allegations are being labeled, that political party has won. As very openly, all 3 councillors are saying that, look, we are influenced by the wisdom, by the vision, by the policy of Honorable Narendra Modi ji. So how can you put somebody that it has been done on the basis of the political? So here's the legal question. Legal question is that the returning officer has done something.
Dubey ji, okay. I mean, it's a bit rich for you to ask people of this country to actually believe that in 20 days since the election was held, there has been a change of heart for 3 Aam Aadmi Party councillors, and it has been a change of heart because of the good policies of the Modi government. ये थोड़ा विश्वास करना, as Kapil Dev would have said, ये हजम करना थोड़ा मुश्किल है. Parvinder Sethi ji, I'm giving you 20 seconds. Please don't take more than that. You know, now that I'm seeing the sequence of events, it is highly possible that these 3 AAP MLAs are the ones who actually betrayed you on the day of voting. That maybe what the presiding officer is saying, that these votes were declared invalid, at least 3 of those votes were declared invalid because they had been defaced. It's very much possible now. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, you know, if these 3 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs so easily have hopped and jumped over to the BJP, for all you know, they are the ones who actually defaced the ballots and made at least 3 of them invalid. आप क्यों बार-बार बीजेपी को ब्लेम कर रहे हैं और प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर को ब्लेम कर रहे हैं? फिर आप ही के तो लोगों में खोट है.
नहीं, देखिए, खोट नहीं है. आप समझिए ना, अगर जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो ऑपरेशन लोटस चलाती है, जो लोगों को ईडी, सीबीआई धमका, कोई पैसे से नहीं मानता, उसको धमका के, उसको ईडी का डर दिखा के, उसको सीबीआई का डर दिखा के, उसको इनकम टैक्स का डर दिखा के, वो अपनी पार्टी में, वो बाय हुक और क्रुक, वो किसी भी व्यक्ति को अपनी पार्टी में ला सकते हैं. वो कोई भी व्यक्ति ये चाहेगा कि भी मेरा परिवार खराब ना हो, मैं जेल ना जाऊं, मेरे साथ कोई गलत बात ना हो. ये डेमोक्रेसी को किल करा है. मैं यही कह रहा हूं कि लोग अपनी मर्जी से आते हैं, जाते हैं.
मुझे रेटरिक मत दीजिए. मैं आपसे सिंपल सवाल पूछ रही हूँ. It is perfectly possible then that these 3 councillors actually deliberately defaced their vote on January 30th, the day of the voting. And while here we are blaming the presiding officer, and for all you know, he may be to blame as well. Maybe there was badmashi from councillors of the Aam Aadmi Party as well. You have to keep, you know, you have to count, you have to not discount that possibility either. वो भी हो सकता है.
नहीं, अगर इनका पहले विचार बदला होता तो ये वोट डालते, इनवैलिड करने की जरूरत क्या थी? आपस की अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती। अब उन्हें पता था कि आम आदमी पार्टी और कांग्रेस अलायंस में उनका मेयर बनना तय है, तो उन्होंने उनकी वोट को इनवैलिड कर दिया। जब उन्होंने देखा ये केस सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाता है तो उनका पूरा जो तंत्र है वो लग गया इन लोगों को डराने में, धमकाने में, पैसे का लालच देने में, पोजीशन का लालच देने में। तो हर व्यक्ति टूट जाता है, हर व्यक्ति इतना स्ट्रांग नहीं होता कि वो किसी कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को फेस करे। उसको पता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी समय पावर में है, तो इनके पाले में जाने में फायदा है, बजाय इनसे नहीं।
So you are telling me there is a weakness within the Aam Aadmi Party and its cadre. Of course it's a weakness. If 3 of your councillors so easily walk over to the BJP, there's a weakness within your party. BJP के लोग तो नहीं जाते आम आदमी पार्टी या कांग्रेस में.
Not easily.
We
not
leave it
easily.
there. Tomorrow the Supreme Court will decide on the matter. Okay. We leave it there. Tomorrow the Supreme Court will decide the matter. They are the ones who will. They are the ones who will see the ballots for themselves. They are the ones who will see the CCTV footage for themselves, and then they will decide if the presiding officer was guilty or not. First thing. The second thing they have to decide is what to do next. Will they order a repoll? If they order a repoll, the BJP will win with the new numbers. Or will they order a recounting? If there is a recounting, then there is a good chance that a AAP Congress candidate, mayor candidate, could be the one who's occupying that seat. We'll leave it there for the moment. We'll all speak to you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Amit Tiwari, good to have you on the show. Ashwini Dubey, thank you. Parvinder Sethi, thank you very much. And Kapil Madan, thank you very much as well. All right.